This is my Team Fortress 2 Payload cart. So, where do I begin with this thing? For starters, it is built on a Lionel General front truck. I had this thing laying around from another build that I just never got around to doing, so I've just had this random truck laying around. It's got the right wheels, but the wheelbase is a little long. I thought about switching them out to a smaller chassis, but I thought about it and decided I'd rather have something a little more stable anyway, so I just went with a stock Lionel truck. I just took out the spring and stuff and used some of the parts elsewhere on this. As for the rest of this, it's pretty much scratch built. This is all just made from popsicle sticks. We have both wide ones and thin ones on here. I don't know if you can really see here towards the back of it. You can't really see the wider ones on there. But there's a few wide ones hidden here and there on there, including on the back of the bed. It's following basically the exact same wood pattern as the model in-game. As for all of these pieces here, this is just bent aluminum. I just cut these pieces out and bent them to shape. Just hand cut, nice and simple. All jammed in there, everything's glued together. This thing is an absolute brick, because it's all wood, it's all metal. Now back here, we have our dispenser. It's fairly simple. This tank I got on eBay for a few bucks. I'll put a screenshot of the seller on screen. These are quite nice. Were they 15 bucks? I'll put the info on screen now. But these are quite nice. It's held on. The brackets are literally just zip ties, but they look absolutely perfect in this scenario. I need to get some silver paint for the top of this. I was going to put a gauge on the dispenser, but I decided not to because it's just going to get broken off anyway. So I'm just going to leave it off. Now then, as for the junk in the dispenser, we have... actually, we'll get to that in just a minute. The whole dispenser is made from a miniature chest, specifically the lid. I got these miniature chests to take them apart for some other stuff that I haven't finished yet. You know, mostly for the hinges and stuff like that. And I had one of the lids laying around, so I cut it in half down the middle, stuck it back together, cut it back down a bit, and then boom, I had the body of my dispenser. So I put a false front on here, and then this is just a piece of bent aluminum right here. Now, inside here, we have half of a Lionel rocket from a Minuteman car. We'll get to that in a minute. The spring from the truck, and there's also a hinge in here from that top of the chest. Unfortunately, it's in there in a really awkward way. I can't get it out, and I can't really put it in there in a way that's displayed better. It's just kind of stuck. So, in there is where it lives. Now, botheration. I stopped the camera. Anyway, as I was saying, up here for the chimney, we have yet another Lionel Minuteman rocket thing. I originally had a different one on here that I cut down the middle, because I had a bunch of these around here. I don't really use them. I shoot pencils out of mine. It's more fun. So I had one cut down the middle that I bent and glued back together, and it didn't really stick together right. So then I tried sticking some wire in there, and the whole thing split. And after that, I figured, you know what? Forget the bent effect. I'm just going to go and put a solid one in there so it holds together nicely and I don't have to worry about it breaking. And then this little piece here is actually off of the general chassis. This is like a little, I don't know what you call this, bearing washer thing. It's bent really weird, but it just so happens that it's the right amount of curve to kind of give me the top of the stovepipe. It's right off of the chassis on the Lionel front truck. Really handy, rather convenient placement for that piece, whatever that thing is. Oh, and then back here we also have a hook that I added. Primarily, this thing gets pushed. It only goes in the front of trains, so I didn't put a hook of any description on the other side. But it does have the option to hook up to the front of engines if I want to. But otherwise, it mostly just kind of rolls and coasts. Now then, up here we have the bomb. So, I bought this bomb on eBay for 15 bucks. I'll put a link on the description, and of course a screenshot on screen right about now-ish. And as for up here, this is just a bent piece of wire, and I got this Christmas light off of, it's actually a funny story about this Christmas light. It came out of a, what do you call it? A time capsule. It was a time capsule that my family made for me when I was a kid. It had a 1999 2000 light in it. It burned out. I need to get new lights for it, but I took one of the bulbs from that, because it just so happened to be the right shade of blue, and I thought it'd be rather funny, and went with that for this. And I love the way that looks. But overall, I think that's about it for the payload cart. Oh, I guess I should talk about how I made the front end. It's honestly fairly simple. I made a fully fine front end, and then I snapped it in half, which was actually harder than you'd expect. I accidentally broke it too much and had to put the whole thing back together again. And there's a little bit of extra support glue back in here to hold it all together, so this is not actually loose. It's, again, it's, you know, fairly solid. There's support behind this. It's not actually weak. So you can actually, you know, run this around. I mean, typically I'm messing around a little shunting layout on my desk. I'm actually using my buffers, so anything that's running around here has got to be stout on either end. It's got to be able to get beaten up a little bit. So there's extra reinforcement behind this. But overall, I'm pretty happy with this little guy.